Good evening. How are you, Mr. Salah?
I think you are, sir.
So we are waiting for the others.
Yes.
Yeah. You always come early. That, mm. I think good evening, everyone. Good evening, Hind, Salar, and Omar. I think we should do the recap and start our lecture between while we do the recap, so everyone will come and yeah. So our lecture was, and today also, it is about meal monitoring and evaluation, accountability, and learning. We said monitoring is a routine process. And what we mean by routine process is something you do usually. You will not sometimes, uh, let's say it is not something you do voluntarily, not something you do it one time, like the evaluation. So it is a routine process to measure the program objectives, if we reach it or not. So we have objective. You remember yesterday we was talking about the target, the people who's in the proposal. So the monitoring team, their main work is to check if we reach the target. That's the first thing they are working on. Second thing, they are verifying this information. Okay, you reach the target. Let's say, for example, we have a food distribution and our staff distributed for some people. But when we called them, they said we did not receive any kind of aids. So this is also something you can count on accountability, because you are accountable in front of your beneficiaries, in front of your organization, and in front of your donor. So the idea of the monitoring is they are checking the information. If it is correct, for example, there is a level of monitoring. And what I mean by level of monitoring. Okay, so if you are international organization. Sometimes you implement your project, and sometimes you give it to the, welcome Amna, you give it to the implementation partners. Implementation partners, يعني let's say 80% in this country, they are a local organization. So your monitoring team, in this case, they will check, okay, the monitoring team from the implementation partner said we already distributed the water, but my team will check also by calling the people. We will have a list and we will verify that by calling the people, talking with the people, and check out that if the aid received by the people, especially in cash programs, it is sensitive work because you are dealing with money, so you always need evidence. As you know, Hind, that every movement in the organization should be an evidence, should be there is something, yeah, you prove that you done it. Like when the auditor came, they will ask you, okay, where did you spend that money? Why this money is not on the budget? Why this number is different? So their main work is about the evidence. In the same case here, your monitoring team is checking the evidence, look like the auditors. It's checking the information that your implementation partner are doing. If you are, let's say, supervising the implementation partner. Other case, if you are the implementation partners, you will check your information directly by your staff. And the donor will check. And sometimes they wanted to measure the output that you done or the outcome that you done, they will do the process called evaluation. Evaluation is about checking outcome and impact. So why we call it this is a social research. This is why we call it a social research, because how I know people got benefit from this program. Okay, they got the food, I have the evidence, I have everything, but they got the training and they have the evidence, I have the attendance sheet and these type of things. But in this case, this is an output document, our monitoring document. But the other case, if I'm checking and sitting with the people and doing, let's say, for example, evaluation interview with them and checking if they gained new skills, that we can call it an evaluation. So checking if their behavior change, for example, with the kid, with the parent, with the mothers, with the student, with the ministries, whatever their your beneficiaries is. So your donor will check this information that you said, I will create impact. I will create the change, remember this word. I will create the change by doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the main document, you will see it, but the verification will be done by the monitoring team. Monitoring have a method. There is a lot of different method in monitoring and different table. Let's say, for example, the logical framework, which is bigger, the result framework, which is less than the LFA, and the theory of change, TOC, also less than that. So this information will help you gather this information that we talk about. But in main theme, it is your main plan for checking the output or the outcome or the impact. And mainly the impact is with always or mainly dealing with evaluation, not monitoring. And we said there's indicators and indicators. There's a standards indicators. There's a good indicators. There's, which is SI, standards indicators. And there's indicator you bring from the donor. There's indicator, as we saw yesterday by the a single form. There's fixed indicator that the donor have. And we also have our own indicator, and the cluster will give us indicators. And also you maybe have, or you will create indicators depend on the society and the people that you are dealing with. Okay. And after that, we talk about the plan and the monitoring plan. And we said, and we give example about that. Sorry, this is the monitoring plan. So we said it will have or contain data collection, data quality control, reporting, dissemination, and use of the data. So mainly what you will say, this is the activity, this is how I will gather the information, this is the people who is in charge about that, and this is the time period and the timeline for my plan. It is very simple thing, not okay managerial tool, but it is not that big document. It is just a plan on the main activity or key activity in monitoring work. Okay. And after that, we talk about all and must and some and a few, and we talk input and output is all the project have, most of the project have a process evaluation or what we said it is RTE when we explain it, and some of the project have an outcome monitoring and evaluation, and a few of them have an impact. And this is a question and you answered. And after that, we talk about the theory of change. So what is the theory of change? So if that not happened, we cannot create the change. If I did not graduate 3 or 10 people from my session, for example, I cannot reach to the change. Okay, and we give an obvious example about that. I will come to it. So this is my assumption. This is in my plan, the long-term change, which is my goal. And without in the BMZ framework, it was, they said they want to change, improve, I think, better life for the people, men and women and boys and these type of things. It's a big line to us. This is their goal. So also our main goal is mainly we always started by our goal. I want to make a change in this society. I want to make change in this place. This is your main objective for the project. And under the umbrella of that, let's call it, this is the parent, and under it, the child. So the child is the strategic objective, the intermediate result, and the output. Here, there is a little change, but without these condition, precondition, the domain of change will not happen. Remember that. Okay, so your goal, you cannot reach your goal, your assumption, the change, long-term change without these type of things, without the activity, without your input, without how many people got this benefit and their intermediate result. And after that, we have the domain of change. So the theory of change, a comprehensive and visual description of how and why a desired change is expected to happen. So how and why we are talking about. So if we back to this, because of 10 people graduated from this training, for example, this is the change. And my long-term change is, let's say, create a change in the better society. And example, we give this example. No, this is the example, and we will back to this slide. So I'm going a little fast in this slide because we already explained it. It's just a recap. Some people did not came in this lecture, so maybe you will need it interactively. Yeah, so we said, let's focus here. 1 second. So agriculture user groups established. We done the group. And after that, we give them the water. So these two output give us this one, which is intermediate result. Agriculture production among individuals improved. So how that happen? When I'm bringing a group of the people who's working and I give them the water, there will be improvement in the production, obviously. But here is the creation of the change. I give them a loan, I market their skills, I done an income generation here, and we have a good place to grow our planet here. So improve IDP participation in agriculture production and income generation. So this is the domain of change here. The overall, this is the objective. our key objective, let's call it, give us this one, which is the goal. So starting by your end of it, you always, when you are planning or do, let's say, project design, when you're thinking, you are mainly thinking, or you should have started mainly by the overall goal, which is improve livelihood of internally displaced person in Delta River as an example. So mainly we are starting by the big idea and we break it down. So this is the change. Because of that, that happened. If and then. Without these, we cannot reach this. Without these two, we cannot reach this one. Without these three, we cannot reach the improvement in livelihood and uh, of the internally displaced persons in Delta River region, for example. Okay, so here is the domain of change, and here is the assumption or the change or long-term goal of change. Okay, and we saw this one, sorry, starting by theory of change. When you are designing the project, you will think about what the thing that you wanted to change. For example, I want these people to have a social cohesion between them. Okay, so I want to improve the, let's say, the social norm, the social culture, the adoption, the new standards, for example. So if I want to read that, I should break it down so smaller objective and the smaller output to give me my result, which is this one. So theory of change, which is intend long-term change, major pathway, which is a way that you will move to reach this goal. Interconnecting relationship, yeah, it is interconnected, internally connected. Okay, because if and then, if that not happened, we cannot reach to this goal. Underlying assumption and supporting evidence, sure, without the evidence and your assumption cannot be happen. Contribution from non-project stakeholders that are needed for change to occur. So if we give a training for people and they came here without, let's say, the preparation for change, without thinking about to get benefit from this training, okay, there no will be any change. But if they are coming prepared to get any change, for example, in the skills and the behavior, depend on what we are talking about, on any training we are talking about, okay? So if they are prepared to change, if they are participated in the change, you will create the change. So if we back to the example we said, the first thing we bring the people, second thing we bring the water for them, we give them a loan, we give them, we done them a marketing. So without their participation, there is no change. I cannot create the change without the participation of my stakeholders. So the change will give me a result. And this is the result. Build on theory of change by mapping out project hierarchy of objective, including objective statement for different level of the project, causal logic of the project that organize the project result into a series of if and then relationship. And the LFA is high level meal framework, same as what we saw. And hundreds of us or a lot of people, uh, we used to work on LFAs like logical frameworks, and you can download it. You just write or LOG framework and you will find it out. It is very easy to build, but sometimes it is hard to build because you have to have imagination about what is the goals, what is the objective, and how you want to reach it, and these type of things to create your LFA. So starting by when you are creating your LFA, you should think about the change and the result to create the LFA. Okay, we back to this example. And after that, we talk about main thing and why we talk about the CHS. CHS is adopted by hundreds or thousands of NGOs and non-profit organizations in the world. The main core value for the CHS is the first thing, you cannot be a party or be with any party in the world, for example. You should be straightforward. You should be natural. You should be independent without any interference from any other actors or political or whatever. You should be dealing with the human, which is lead up to humanity. If even the people that the government fighting with, they need help as in a human, we give them the aid, our support, our help, because we are dealing with the human. Okay, we are not dealing with the agendas. So, and this four give us 9 points. First, humanitarian response is appropriate and relevant. So when you are saying I'm giving water, you should give water. You should not give another things, for example. Humanitarian response is effectively and timely. Sure, because we have a period and we have, let's say, emergency, early recovery, development, and emergency. We have our project, maybe it will be faster, like 6 months, 4 months, 3 months, 1 month, depend on the case that you are doing. And humanitarian response strengthens local capacity and avoid negative effects, sure. Because when you are, should that happen, when you're bringing organization with the multicultural thinking, and this is why I will quote something that I'm doing, for example. When I'm giving my training, which is International Human Resource Management, IHRM, the main thing that I need when I'm giving a training for the people is to make a different mindset, because we have something we prefer the people who is living here than other people, or vice versa. We should not think about that. If someone from any religion, from any country, from anywhere on this planet have the skills, have the character, have the attitude, have the experience to achieve this job, you should hire them without thinking he's from different country or different religion. 90% of the people I give a training for, especially in HR, which was, this is a different thing, they got changed because we was doing a role playing. Okay, you are from India, you are from Afghanistan, you are from US, whatever. You are Jew, you are Christian, you are Muslim. But the idea is to let them think that no one better than other only by their skills, their experience, their character, their attitude, especially when we are talking about human resource, because this is something is, let's say, it is sensitive when you are dealing with. Yeah, so the idea here, we should, anyone in front of us think as a human. If they are with a different background, different anything, they are human in front of us, and we are working in humanitarian. So this is the thing, the change I'm talking about. So avoiding the negative effect, because when we came with the different idea, different mythologies, different religion, and we not think about these type of things, because this is an inner thinking or ideological things, cannot change the person. We can create the positivity here. We can change the society. This is the great idea about it. Humanitarian response is based on communication, participation, and feedback. I said, put 100 line under this one, because this one is talking about number 4 and number 5 talking about accountability. And accountability standards is laying on 3 main parts: communication, participation, and feedback. Communication, remember, communication. You will communicate with each other. Participation, I will let them participate in making the decisions. Depend on the decision that I'm talking about. Okay. And feedback. I should hear from the people what's happening. I told you. Maybe you have, let's say, your staff is dealing with people wrongly because they have a power. And the people under them, they don't have the power. They have the power so they can make anything like harassment, abusing, and whatever. And it happened. And I personally find a lot of these people, and it was a lot of problem. Yeah. So, and compliant, always welcomed. So when you hear from people, you should hear from them. Let's say that you put a box to hear from compliant about what's happening or whatever. Humanitarian response is coordinated and complementary. Humanitarian actors continuously learn and improve. And I say it again, if we back 10 years ago, we have a different approach than now. 20 years ago, we have a different approach than now. A lot of regulation happened because of something happened. Some problem, some anything. As I told Hind, you will see a lot of regulation, for example, inside the procurement, inside the finance. For each one, there was a story behind it. For each thing you see, for each regulation. Okay. Staff and supported to do their job effectively and are treated fairly and equally. Yes, sure. Yes, we are humanitarian worker. For example, we are dealing with people and we are helping people, but we also should help our staff. We should deal with them as we deal with our beneficiaries. Resources are managed and used responsibly for their intent purpose because this donation is coming to help people. There's a purpose behind this in kind or money or whatever the type of donation that you are getting is directly for people who in need. As an example, we said there's a lot of type of beneficiaries, so we jump from that to not this one. So but before we talk about that, let's go to the, sorry, not the learning, just jump to slide, I think. Okay, so yeah, so if we talk about accountability as an individual, as an organization. So an organization, top level commitment to accountability to affect population with the clear chain of command and line management, harmonized organizational culture, and common objective of the country. Sorry, I think the internet is shut down. Yeah, sorry guys, the internet is shut down, and yeah. So let's continue our talk. Where we left it here. Yes. Okay. So if you hear me well, just say it because I'm opening from the phone. So yeah. So top level commitment to accountability to affected population with the clear chain of command and line management, harmonized organizational culture, common objective at country level. So when we are talking about accountability depend on the organizational level, it is a country level or maybe adopted by overall organization to deal with their beneficiaries, to their workers, to their donors. Top level commitment for the collective level to accountability to affected population, but with the voluntarily participation in collective structure and non-binding decision collection of diverse organizational culture. Yeah. So it is either organizational or by individuals, and if it is adopted by organizational level, should be by adopted by the overall organization, uh, from, let's say, for example, from the HQ to the local level to the country level or global level. Yeah. So, and this is what we clear about that the accountability, it is a mechanism to, let's say, be responsible in front of three kind of, let's say, the beneficiaries and the donor and your organization you are working on. So, and we said this is the feedback and response mechanism flowchart, which is, if we can see here, this is the community. Okay. And we will hear from them by, for example, a hotline, which is a phone number that you will put to hear their compliant or whatever they have about. uh, Text messages, for example, you open, let's say, even a WhatsApp to hear or receive information from other people. Maybe you put a page for your organization to hear from people. Suggestion box, because sometimes in the places where IDBs there is no internet, for example, so we use this boxes, and it is old way, but you want to hear from people, so you will put these boxes, and it will be anonymous. No one will know who write this compliant about what happened, for example, of, or if they have a suggestion to be changed. If we, let's say, for example, I give an example about, for example, if we have an FI distribution and we have a jerry can, and we was intending to give to the people this jerry can to use it for water, but after a while we surprised by they are using it to carry out the kerosene, for example, or the oil. So next time we can bring them something for the oil and something for the water, or vice versa. Or also we can bring them only something for the water as they have something for the kerosene and the fuel. You can put a help desk. Help desk is, let's say, you put a desk and the people will come to you and you will hear from them, and you will do a community meeting. And what does community meeting mean? That you will sit with people and hear from them. And this is why we always saying that the field visit is very important, because you will hear from people. Maybe they cannot talk with your staff, especially sometimes we choose a staff from the same area or the same place, for example, and maybe there's a tribal issue between them. You don't know about these type of things. Sometimes it's happening. So you should always go and hear from them. And our project team will hear this information, and we will send back by meeting or by doing a workshop for them or by texting them or by radio or by phone call as an example to talk with them. But mainly we get this information and we create the needed change for that. But we always should address what the people are saying, because they have a need and we should hear from them what their needs. Okay, so my question here, if you want to develop this cycle, to give more communication tool an example, what do you think how to develop this cycle? Starting by who we have here, starting by Amna.
Um, I think by doing sessions online, for example,
Yeah,
for them,
yeah,
hear from them.
yeah. Okay, this is one. Okay, so let's see. Hand suggestion: how to develop this cycle.
The feedback, maybe we can implement it in our policy to update in the policy of the organization.
Yeah, but what the change can you create for this cycle?
When you said radio, you mean the media here, right?
Yeah, the media, or what you think if you wanted to create a change for this cycle.
Yeah, maybe I will use the media.
Okay, like an
to
email, for example.
in the Arabian world is difficult. We still like struggle in the emails with our community. So probably TV, yes, probably TV and maybe brochures, print flex in the streets to encourage the people to do what they supposed to do, and also maybe evaluate the team according to the feedback that we have from the beneficiaries and make us, let's say, strong decisions, especially if the cases that we are collected from the beneficiaries will be like major.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I until now. That's what I thinking of right now.
Okay, thank you. Who's next? Let's see by the list. Nadine, please go ahead.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
To be honest with you, Montella, I don't 100% understand your question. You say, how would you develop this cycle,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
What exactly do you mean?
Okay, so we have a communication tools. It is two-way.
Yes.
The first way
Yes.
is sending information to us, and second way is sending to them information. So the idea here is if there is another way we can create to hear from people, from our community, for example.
Whew, well, okay, what can we ask the people how to get back to us? Yes, we can use the hotlines, we can use the WhatsApps, we can have our, I mean, we can still also actively go out there and perform like interviews with them or provide questionnaires
Okay.
to see if our project has made any change for them. We can maybe members of the community to get their feedback on our projects and on how we realized our projects. In regard to how do we transport our message to them, we could maybe include, outreach activities that we try to reach the people directly. Maybe we do house-to-house visits depending on the message that we want to process. Maybe we, I don't know, contact them via school programs or via health centers, depending on the message. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So you suggest the two line. So one we give them, we get from them, and the other we give them the information. Okay. So let's see, Omar. I didn't cover a lot of things, but let's see, Omar. Please go ahead. Yeah,
Okay. How's everybody today?
we are doing well.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank-
Okay, in my opinion, the best nowadays and the most successful thing is the online blogs,
yeah, but
the blog pages.
can we be more realistic? Because if we think about it, maybe the IDBs or the refugees, they are maybe in camp or out camp. So they don't have this,
Yeah.
let's say, sometimes they don't have the internet, sometimes, or staff don't have internet in these places sometimes. So can we get, let's say, more an offline activity than online activities, if you think, to hear from them?
I would only think of going out there in the field. I mean, that would be the best thing.
Okay. Okay, so going out of the field and do the field visit and hear from them.
Yeah.
Okay, and how you will respond? If you heard that, you will go back to the field and do a meeting with them, for example, or what you will do?
Exactly. I would write down like all their problems, all their suggestions, and I would pass it over to the HQ.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Omar. Let's go with Salar. Please go ahead.
Good evening, all. I think the best chosen is now is using social media to make a response for them, and to get a feedback, it's by home visiting or making assessment for a randomly sample group. I don't have any idea if there's anything else. So
Yeah,
I think
if we talk about online, there's a lot of channels. Offline, it is mainly the boxes, the meetings, the interviews. Yeah,
that's all of this is listed here. So
yeah.
I have nothing to add it.
Okay, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what if I will give you two cases and you answer in any case you choose. Okay, so you are managing a project, but not as a project manager, you are a program manager. And the project is emergency, and in period of 6 months, the overall project, after 3 months, you find out that one of the main key staff is have a fake degree and fake reference, and his position, for example, need a technical experience, like for example, a wash engineer or wash officer. So we are talking about engineer. So, and you find out that he have a fake resume. He's not even completed a college. What is your action here? And we have only 3 months to complete the project. This is the first thing. This is, you will choose any question you will want to answer. And the second question, if you went to the field and you was talking with the people, and one of the people asked you to, if he can talk with you alone, and when he talked to you, he said one of your staff raped one of the beneficiaries. What is your action in this case? Starting by Amna.
Oh, sorry. I'll I'll take the two. I'll go to police and let them make تحقيق، ما أعرف نسيتها بالإنجليزي شنو. So we can know the truth about that, and if it is true, he will judged.
Okay. So you will directly go into the police, talk to police, and the police will go and do investigation.
Maybe we will. Maybe I will transfer her to a doctor to making sure that her or his what he talked about is true.
So this is we said not the first victim. It is a reporter, or let's say informer. He told you that this accident happened. So let's go with the hint.
Okay, for the first question,
Okay.
when we hire such a person for such a position, definitely we, let's say, check many points in addition to the certificates, his or her past experience, what the kind of project they are implementing. We checking with the other partner.
And
what the
may I
result.
interrupt? Sorry. A friendly interrupting. We are talking about wash engineer, and he is not engineer.
Yes, I know.
So he's
But yeah, when you're hiring such one,
yeah,
I know. But when you're hiring such persons,
okay,
to depend on him on a technical opinion, you definitely at least will make your checking about him. Let's say we are usually, it's difficult to check on the certificates. Many organizations, they didn't do that, but they definitely do the checking with the other implementing partner or with his past experience. If it's NGO or profit companies, if that's work well, and he did well actually with the project with the 3 months, I will let him go. I will let him, let's say, implement with under supervision from one of our, let's say, project managers or senior project managers, focusing on him day by day within his implementation. Then later, immediately after the implementation will be done, we'll get him back to the office, go with the HR process to end his, let's say, contract with the organization, because at the end he, let's say, submits false information. But if he's the main reason, if he's main actor on the field within project within 3 months, I don't believe that I will let him go until the project will be finished. This is my answer for the first question.
what do you think? Who's accountable for this accident? The HR or the project manager?
Definitely the HR.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the tasks that the HR has to do. Second question about the wrapping cases. This is definitely will be first meetings with the monitoring evaluations program and the HR, and the HR go with the investigations about the whole cases, and if it's at the end will be true, then definitely will reach the, let's say, internal ministry, the police, let's say, to handle this case to him. And as a implementing partner, we will go and support the girl as much as we can regarding her health or her psychological status. I believe that's what we're gonna do.
Okay, thank you. Nadine, what do you think?
Okay, do you want me to pick one or reply to both?
If you like both, will be better. If you like one, go ahead.
Anyway, let me start with two. Normally in this case, we actually have to start an investigation unit that is independent from anybody in the field. We have to maybe involve other actors, especially when this was maybe happening inside a camp, you know, then for example, camp management should be involved. And we have to start our own investigation. Of course, we have to interview the girl, if possible, with somebody who has some experience in this field, because it's a very, very difficult issue, something like this. We have to immediately take this guy who maybe did this out of the field, and then start also interviews with all the other staff concerned, with maybe other actors in the field who can shine some light on the fact if this has happened or not. And then, depending on how it goes, decide if we want to include the police or other authorities.
Okay.
About point number one, it's quite a difficult issue. I understand where Hint is coming from, and I also have to say that sometimes people can be pretty awesome in what they do, although they are lacking the professional training, let's say, but maybe they have trained themselves or something similar. But the issue is that he has actually lied within the documents that he has supplied, and this is unacceptable. So if we find that somebody has faked their documents, we actually have to release them straight away and find a way of replacing this person.
And my question here, who's accountable, the project manager or the HR for this case?
Well, the HR, because the HR has to check the background of the documents that have been supplied.
Yeah, correct. Okay, thank you. Let's see, Omar. Omar sees in HR, so he know what. Yeah.
Yeah, it is something I should be involved in actually as an HR, especially case number 2. Or sorry, actually both cases, I would
Both
say.
cases,
Yeah. So for case number 1, the fake documentation. Okay. Of course, the HR would be responsible for this, like to check the documentation since day 1. And even the reference letters, they should be checked, not only the documentation. So for this case, if we find out that at a later period that it's fake, as you said, okay? What we would do is take him to an office, okay? Don't let him feel anything, okay? Don't let him suspect anything, actually. And in Iraq, it doesn't really happen this way, but in other countries, I'm saying, I would just put him in the office and call the police, and then they come and drag him outside. Yeah, for presenting fake documentation. Yes, in other countries. I'm not saying in Iraq.
But you don't have this right in here in Iraq.
Of course, yeah. I'm
First
saying
and second, NGO, they don't have a. Let's say they are not the decision makers. They are only supporters. Okay.
Yeah. In other countries, I'm saying, of course,
Yeah.
Iraq.
But if this accident happened for government sector, they can do anything. Yeah.
Possibly, yes. Yes. Government, yes. And what we would do is, within 1 week or less, we'd get an emergency person to replace him. Even if his skills are a bit lower, no problem. We need to complete the project.
Okay.
I mean, it's urgent.
Okay. So who's accountable for this wrong hiring? What do you think?
HR, straight away. No question.
Okay, so what about the second?
Number 2.
Yeah.
Second case number 2. For case number 2, this is something very serious. We should check the witnesses. We should check both sides, actually. And we should be very professional in dealing with both sides, especially the victim, if she's claiming this. We could even escalate it a bit higher, which is, of course, what's going to happen. I mean, this is a serious issue. So after the investigation, of course, like if this is true, obviously he's going to be in court. He's going to be taken to court, obviously, after all this investigation is done. First, it's going to be from our side. If needed, I mean, if it's really him, of course, they'll be investigated later on by the police, and then he'll be persecuted. And for her, we will find her some help, like psychological help, so on.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Omar. Salar, please go ahead.
Okay, for the first question, I think is the wash engineer, he should laid off from his work because he doesn't fulfill the requirement of the job. And the responsible for this is the HR team, because he didn't request the certificate that approve he's graduated from the engineering. And the second question about the rape, actually the responsible, and if I will can inform the HR so he can start an investigation and inform the police and protection officer and let this case between them in high level, not shared between everyone, and call the concerned people and make a medical examination for the victims or the girl to be clearly sure this incident has been, it's right or correct. And for the criminal, or how we can say, he should be under investigation, and
Okay.
if the accusation is right, he already will go to the court and get jail. I think this
Okay.
is
Okay. Thank you.
okay. Thank you.
So, the first case, we are talking about technical position, which is an engineer position, and we cannot bring someone who's only a technical experience. That's first thing. Second thing, we have only 3 months, and this is a critical issue. But after a while, we find out this has happened, guys. So after a while, I found out that the HR knew about everything, but what I have done, I called this person. He was in the field. I called him to my office and I talked with him because my first background was engineer after I got the administration, these type of things. So the first thing I asked him about some theories in engineering and these type of things, and he doesn't know anything. So yeah. And the person who told me about that he is the country director of Lumont. We were sitting and he told me, I heard that person hired with you and I already fired him because he don't have a paper. So that raised the issue for me. But in all this time, not the project manager, not the HR told me about that. But after a while, I find out that this HR, and he's now working as an international. He still have these type of things to bring people to fake references and these type of things. Okay, so I terminate him because this is a wrong act. If we accept it, there's other will do it. Okay, and second case, it is very critical issue because the important things about organization is their reputation. And when I'm talking about that, you should be aware that if some places, they hate your name, your nationality, your organization name, maybe it will be having a lot of problems, maybe tribal issues, maybe killing, maybe a lot of things will happen because they hate this person or this organization. So the people in the field, they should represent our organization very well. So we should choose them carefully, not by the way that we are working on emergency and we should hire whatever. No, there should be a strategic HR planning, and we should have already CVs before every project we will do. And in meanwhile, we will receive the CVs, also our resumes, before let's say in the same time that we are applying our project. So yes, and for the feedback mechanism, as we said, this is what we can, let's say, talk about it as a hotline, text messages, suggestion box, and these type of things. So either if it is going will be online or offline, and you can make a new ideas from that, but this is the main things. Maybe you sit with them, maybe you'll get questionnaires, surveys, maybe TV programs, but always focus on what's happening. Let's say what is on the field. Maybe they don't have internet, access to internet. Maybe they don't have access to the TV. Maybe they don't have access to the media. So you will select what is on the ground so you can hear from them and you can talk with them by hearing from them. So then jump to the next one. Yeah, by social media, by integration, yeah. So, and we said here as an example, so there's a focal point. He will hear, he will get the information from the suggestion box, sorry, this one, and from the meeting from the people, and he will get the information. If it is high impact, or if it is low, this load will be go directly to the operational feedback, project team meeting, and we will do a feedback for them or community workshop or individual meeting. But if he heard something that high impact and sensitive, like fraud or corruption about someone from your staff, or harassment, complaint of abuse, for example. So it is BSAH, which is abuse and harassment task force. Okay, and it will be reporting and will be directly to, let's say, the SMT, and the SMT should have a meeting, and after the meeting, you should make a decision. Hopefully, you cannot make it, let's say, heard in the media, and hopefully it not get on the media, and this organization are doing this type of things for the people. And you know media, what I'm talking about when I'm talking about media. So you can go with the girl, you can sit with her, you make sessions. If it is a girl or a man, he get raped or whatever, what is the case we are talking about. Okay, guys. So how the feedback will be collected by this one? Who will receive it? This one. How will the feedback proceed? By this. And this is how we talk about them and how we give them the feedback and how we use it. Okay, guys. So, in learning, we have two main things. First of all, the adaptive management, which is international approach to making decision and adjustment to the project in response to new information and change in the context. And for example, the change is, okay, you bring something and you find out that you intend for this purpose and you found out it is for another purpose. For example, you bring them a domestic use water, for example, and they use it for drinking. So you have to raise the bar to bring, let's say, a water tablet to clean the water and give it back to the people, for example. So you are adapting to the situation is happening. For another example, in the learning, let's say, you are planning to give them a food, but you find out they have the food, but they need water, or they need a shelter, or they need NFI, or they need health treatment. So after that, because, okay, you know, in the media they are playing and you know they will need a food and you are applying for a food and you make the assessment, but when you came and you find out that they need another things, so you should change. So making a decision and adjustment to the project in response to new information and change in the context. And we are talking about the context. Also, we are talking the overall context. Maybe the number is increased. This is a learning you can change. And also learn from your past mistakes. Okay. This is a second level, which is organizational learning, is the process by which an organization discover and adapt to new knowledge. And how you adapt this new knowledge, maybe you discover it, you read about it, or you learn it from your past mistakes. So we learn from our past, we embrace our present, and we plan for our future. Okay, so, and what is the learning? Okay, sorry, cycle. So, or here, if we can see here, the data collection, we gather the information from the people, we analyze it, we talk to them, and we talk with each other. We correct the information, or we correct the line inside the project. And if we remember that we said you cannot make a change for result. Result, I mean, if it is wash under wash, if it is food under food umbrella, and depend on the donor that you are dealing with. So starting by designing, collecting the data, analyzing it, dialogues, and correction. And we back to our example in the kerosene and the jerry can. What is the process will be happen here? We said you give them an item and they use it for another use. You was intending to give it to them to use it, for example, for the water, and they use it for kerosene. Or you are intending to give it to them for the kerosene and they use it for the water, and it is not valid to be used by human use, for example, the materials inside this jerry can. So your staff will came and they will check that, and they will collect this information to you or to the project manager. The project manager will analyze it, and the project manager will talk with the program manager or the program officer or program assistant, and they will hear from him what is the needed change. And after that, a discussion with the example with your management or with your donor, and you create the change inside the project, which is correction by the way that you are using this item or this method. Let's say, for example, you bring something not related to the society. Okay, because we have 8 type of demand. Okay, what is the 8 type of demand? I will give you some of them as I remember. So the 8 type of demand, sorry, this camera was turned off. It is negative demand, it is positive demand, it's zero demand, it's a lot of type of demand. Okay, so the negative demand, what that we are talking about? Okay, for example, let's give you something. I bring this type of let's say temperature reader, and they don't like it in the society. It is against their culture, for example, and they don't use it. There's a lot of items they don't use it. There's a lot of type of things they don't use it. But in some societies or some culture they use it. So you will go and hear from them. Okay, is everything going well? Did you receive these type of things? Okay, how you are using it? How they are using it? If it is correctly or not correctly, and if it is not correctly, you will try to fix it or replace it with another item. So the important things, as we said, is learning from the past mistakes. I will give you another example in procurement, and I think I mentioned that as I remember. So the companies were coming without registration. They only apply. They apply by their form, and they get, let's say, the contract with your organization. But one organization, what they was doing, they was printing the head logo the head letter, sorry, in the Photoshop. They do everything in the Photoshop. The same stuff was getting this contract by different names, and they was getting this contract to give to the people by half of the prices, and there's a lot of problems happen. One of the staff find out, and he reported back to the UN. So directly from Geneva to Iraq. This is an example, live example. Investigation officers, they came and they find out that everything is fake. All the vendors is fake. So after a while, there's a rules comes inside the humanitarian society, especially in this country, that any company want to apply for, let's say, for a contract in with the humanitarian NGOs, they should have a bank account by their name, because you can fake the logo, you can fake the registration paper, but it is hard to open a bank account by the name of the company or the name of the organization unless you are registered, and there's a lot of rules and checking inside the bank will be happening. So, you know, as we said, the humanitarian work is always developing, learning from the past, and increase the awareness about anything could be raised as wrong, the way of, let's say, acting. I will give you example happened in Yugoslavia. I read about it. So it was cash. So they put, the staff came and they put a sign saying, tomorrow at 10 a.m. we will give cash for the beneficiaries. On the second day, when it came as a tomorrow, so not hundreds, thousands of people around the place of the distribution place. So, and I think this happened in 19s or in 80s. So what the change happened inside the humanitarian society is when you want to do a cash, let's say, assistance, you should call, let's say, the beneficiaries, and you arrange time and the place for them, only call them by invitation. So this is the change that we are talking about in learning. So, and here is the knowledge, the three level of knowledge. I know we passed the time, but if you stay with me and focus, so we can continue our session. So the first type is creation. The second type is transfer. The third type is retention. Retention is keeping, as the translation looks like that. So knowledge creation, new knowledge is created by, focus on this word, combining new information. And what is the new information? The data that the data you are collecting through your meal process. So this is the connection between meal and learning, because who will collect the data? Who will check it? The meal is to have. Okay, with the existing knowledge, or by discovering a new way of organizing existing knowledge. And we give 3 or 4 examples about to creating a new knowledge by the data that we got from the field. By whom? By the meal staff. Okay. And after that, transfer. Organization doesn't learn till knowledge is transferred agency-wide. So maybe the COVID is an example for transfer. The procedures that we are doing right now, wearing the gloves and mask and these type of things, how it's happened, it is transferred from another organization, from WHO as a guideline to our organization to make it like that. So knowledge transfer can be person to person and through knowledge platform that are used to share information across the programs, offices, and locations. Okay, so we shared by clusters and we adopt it right now, and we put a distance, we wear gloves, We put a mask and these type of things as in transfer knowledge between other actors to us to do that. Knowledge retention, which is keeping the knowledge. Organization learning happen when new knowledge is embedded into process and activities at the project, organizational, and sectoral level. Yeah, sorry, some noises. Yeah. So this is the main three type of knowledge inside the learning. So if we back, meal is monitoring, evaluation, learning, accountability, and learning. Monitoring is routine process happen usually. Evaluation is the social researches that happen after the project, inside the project, depend on the demand of the donor. And accountability is hearing, getting feedback, communication, and participation from your main stakeholders like your beneficiaries, your donor, and organization itself. And learning is learning from your either your past or from the new technology happen, or adapting a new information by analyzing and correcting and make a dialogue for an existing information and create a change inside it. So, and there's a three types of learning knowledge. Either you create it by the data collection, either you transfer it from other organizations, or either organization learning happen when new knowledge is embedded to the process and activities at the project, organizational, and sectoral level. So here we reach to the end of our lecture. It was amazing time with you guys. I enjoy it. I will send you the template of LFA, the template of the same as BMZ, and some template. I will send it to you as a package. This is one, and I will ask you. You already provide me with the cases, so I will check the cases again. So everyone send me the cases answer. He will get the certificate, and if you not yet send the cases answer, please send it to send you the certificate. Thank you guys for these amazing days. Take care, everybody. Yeah, sure. We will send evaluation to also evaluate the course. Okay. If you have any question, please go ahead. If not, we will close the session. Thank you, guys. Thank you a lot. Wonderful team. Yeah.